Church family, I want to welcome you to another midweek update, and I'm glad to be able to just share a few words with you today. First of all, I just want to say what an incredible day we had this past Sunday. Oh my goodness, it was awesome. It was so good to see many of our folks back in worship. There were many of you that were here this past Sunday who have not been here since this pandemic began. So it'd been a year and a half or so almost before some of you had actually been able to be back in the sanctuary. So it was just really good to see so many faces, and I was just grateful to be back in our traditional worship service and our contemporary worship service. As I shared with y'all last Wednesday rather, the Bible study hour. We're not able to accommodate everybody yet on our campus, but we had over 900 people in Bible study Sunday morning. And to think that we can accomplish that without our facilities across the street even being open yet, the fact that we basically filled up the Wade building and the the second floor rather of the children's building with some young adult classes, and the youth and the college and children and preschoolers were here. We just had a great day. This coming Sunday, of course, is Mother's Day, and that's always a very special time of worship for so many families, and we're looking forward to that this coming Sunday, and we'll be dedicating some babies to the Lord and their families to the Lord, so always a very meaningful service for us. And then the next Sunday is going to be High School Graduate Recognition Sunday, and we're going to get to do that in person this year. Last year we weren't able to do that in person, just like we couldn't do Mother's Day in person last year. So we're thrilled that we're going to get to experience these milestone kind of Sunday mornings, and we'll continue to provide Bible study as we started last Sunday morning. Just once again asking to be patient with us as we try to provide as much space as possible. I know a number of our classes and departments are still meeting on Zoom, and we're probably going to have to do that for a little while longer until we get the facilities completed. But I just want you to know it's just good and to be back together at the level we've been able to be back together already. And last Sunday morning was just a beginning for us, a new beginning is what I would say. A couple things that I wanted to share with you also, just so you'll know what's happening kind of behind the scenes right now here at First Baptist. One of them is, you remember that we voted as a church to establish a new ministry level position on our staff, and that new position is the Minister of Congregational Life. And Darren Moore, one of our church members, is the chair of that search team. And you're going to be hearing a report from them pretty soon once we get through the meetings that we've got to do with according to our church governance structure. So once we get those done, you're going to be hearing a report from them, and I'm really excited about that. Also, Personnel Committee, the Advisory Council, the Deacon Council has voted to establish another new position. Once Larry retired, we began to just reassess our spiritual formation organizational structure. And so the Personnel Committee made a recommendation that we form a group to just study it, so we've had a group from Personnel Committee studied along with Kirk Grice, and we've recommended a new position that we're calling Minister to Adults, and you're going to hear that recommendation here in a couple of weeks on a Sunday morning, and have an opportunity to vote to establish that new position along with a search committee that the Personnel Committee will be recommending. And so those two staffing kinds of situations are occurring right now, and we'll do our best to keep you informed about both of them. So I would just ask you to be in prayer for those search teams, one that's already been functioning, one that's getting ready to start, as we seek just the right people that we believe God's calling to us to lead in those various areas of responsibility. And the congregational life position is in the pastoral ministries department, and will work right alongside me to help shepherd our congregation, provide pastoral care for our people, and to provide training and leadership to develop a whole network of caring shepherds all across the life of our church family. So really excited about that. And then the Minister of Adults position will come to work alongside Kirk Grice to provide leadership for our spiritual formation ministry across the life of our church. So really, really excited about the possibilities there. So, excuse me, with that said, I just wanted to point your attention today, if I may, just for a couple of minutes, to the text that we shared Sunday morning. When you're studying the book of Exodus, which we're doing right now, we're reading through the book of Exodus, there are just some signal moments that take place during this story. Obviously, the deliverance of the children of Israel from the Egyptians. Signal moment, of course. That's at the heart of this story. But the encounter with God at Mount Sinai, it's a year-long encounter that Israel has at the foot of Mount Sinai. That is another one of those just signal moments in this story. And Exodus 19 records when Israel arrives as a people standing before God on that mountain, the mountain of the Lord, Mount Horeb, Mount Sinai. It's the mountain that Moses saw the burning bush on, where he received the call from God. And it is now, when you come to Exodus 19, it is the place where Israel is gathered to worship. And when they gather there, right at the very beginning, God calls Moses to himself, and then he speaks this word through Moses over the people. And he calls these people into a calling to become the people of God. And that calling includes, as we talked about this last Sunday morning, responsibility. It's great blessing. In fact, the text says in Exodus 19 that Israel is going to be God's treasured possession, it says in verse 5. So there's great blessing, but there's responsibility that comes with that. And God says, I want you to be a holy nation, and I'm calling you to be a kingdom of priests, a priestly kingdom, if you will. And so Israel begins this journey, really, once they're rescued from Egypt, with a moment where they stand before God, and God gives them their identity, and He shares with them their purpose, and He sets before them their calling. They're a treasured possession. That's really their identity. They will live into being a holy nation, and they will become this kingdom of priests so that they might draw all the other nations of the world into this promise of redemption and hope. Now, it will take many, many years for that to become true, for it to come to fruition. It's a long and winding story. But as we find our way through the book of Exodus, what we're hearing, what we're listening for, are the messages of redemption, the messages of hope that extend far beyond the borders of, of Israel. This very text reminds us of that. A holy nation and a kingdom of priests. In other words, the calling from God extends beyond just the blessings that they receive as God's people. They now have a commission. They have a purpose to live into. The reason that that's important to us today is because if you fast forward many, many years later, Israel will become the cradle of the Messiah, and Mary will give birth to none other than the Son of God, the Lord Jesus Himself. And then Jesus will call followers to Himself, and He will commission them, just like God commissioned them on the foot of Mount Sinai. And Peter will then tell us that calling, that experience of being a treasured possession, that challenge to be a holy nation, a holy people, that responsibility of being a kingdom of priests has now been given to the church. And we read that in 1 Peter. And we're going to talk about all that Sunday morning. So we're going to bring this together on Sunday morning and connect the story of Israel with the story of the people of God today. So with that said, I'm looking forward to being with you this coming Sunday morning as we celebrate Mother's Day and as we spend some time reflecting upon what it means to be the covenantal people of God in our day and what we can learn from Israel as they lived into it in their day. So, thank you for letting me just share a few words with you today. God bless you, and I look forward to seeing you soon.